We understand that this is just the start of a complex process of several phases, at the same time ensuring that the institution have the capacity, knowledge, equipment and resources to implement them in proper manner.
Thank you. Dear Director General Danielson, Director Calavera, dear Coordinator Jorna, dear colleagues, representatives of the European Commission services and delegations from both countries. It is my honor and privilege in a capacity as a Deputy Prime Minister for European Affairs, but also as a Chief Political Accession Negotiator, to be here today in Brussels on this historical occasion for my country, to mark the start of the screening process with the explanatory meeting for Chapter 23, Judiciary and Fundamental Right. We have been expecting this moment for more than 15 years, signing the SAA in 2001, applying for membership in 2004, becoming candidate country in 2005, getting the first recommendation to start accession negotiations in 2009, and then 8 consecutive positive recommendations until 2018. And it is our strong belief that today we are entering our final phase before full membership. But we are aware that it will not happen tomorrow. It will take longer, and it will depend mostly on us, on our political will and also administrative capacity. Our Euro-Atlantic orientation and aspiration for NATO and EU membership was clear and vocal since we declared our independence. Processes that everyone agrees that are complex, long-lasting and very demanding. Processes that have neither begun with us nor will end with us. These are strategic interests of the states that we convey to each other, and we continue where the others have stopped. This government took over the office in very difficult circumstances, but with dedicated work and commitment, and with the assistance of all our neighbors and international community, we have managed to deliver results in 2 trajectories. One, by implementing the internal reforms and by bringing to closure the open bilateral issues, first with Bulgaria and then with Greece. The achieved results were recognized by the European Commission in the enlargement package and positive country report, and confirmed by all member states in the Council conclusion, which set clear path for setting date for start of negotiation in June next year. I also have to express my sincere appreciation to the European Commission for their proactive approach following the June Council conclusion and proceeding with the preparation for the first phase of the negotiation process, the screening, which brought us all together today on the start of the explanatory screening with the presentation of the Chapter 23. We understand that this is just a start of a complex process of several phases, dealing with thousands of pages of the EU acquis, as you have mentioned, including technical standards which need to be transposed into a national legal system, while at the same time ensuring that the institution have the capacity, knowledge, equipment and resources to implement them in proper manner. But let me assure you that no matter how big this challenge is, there is a huge level of enthusiasm and motivation among the administration and positive energy in the society around the EU integration. Our existing long-lasting structures have accumulated experience and will be the core of the negotiating structure that will convey the process, supported with civil society, academic community, business community and social partners, and other key experts that will be involved in the screening process. As for the start of this process with the Chapter 23, let me assure you that we have full respect for your principle, fundamental first, and we can promise that we will work closely with you to meet all requirements, to implement all obligations, and to introduce all European standards into our society. It goes without saying that a part of 23 and 24 chapters, we will work hard on all chapters with equal respect and seriousness, simply because they all matter. Simply because implementing the EU standards, rules and values is what this process is all about. In a specific situation, with explanatory screening already on the calendar, but bilateral screening that will come just next fall, we need to find mechanisms and channels to keep the focus of the administration on the process. We need to use the SAA bodies, peer review missions, to have more frequent meetings between our experts and the experts from line DGs who will help us to guide in having proper transposition of the EU acquis. In this way, we will ensure that the time between now and June next year is used in the best possible way, and once we have the first intergovernmental conference, we will be able to continue with the regular phases bilateral screening, where the member states and various council bodies will also be involved. Finally, it is equally important to have your assistance through the EU funds. We will use to the extent possible the instruments such as twinning and TAIEX. We will also make efforts to use the current EPA funds by 2020, but we also count on the assistance within the new EPA perspective in support of the reforms. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by underlining that we are ahead of a very sensitive, intensive and complex period when the government and the entire society will have to deal with many parallel processes. Implementation of the bilateral agreement with Greece, strengthening good neighborly relations, at the same time continuing with the reforms and going through technical part of the screening, preparing for the accession negotiations. We must build our portfolio until June 2019, when we expect the Council of EU to confirm the start of negotiations. Therefore, we need, as far, to work in close partnership with you, the European Commission and the EU delegation, especially in terms of building wider national consensus on the EU integration and bringing the opposition on board. And let me just underline that this is an opportunity that we cannot afford to miss. It is our responsibility to ensure that the process will move into the right direction. Thank you very much. But before passing the floor, if I can just pass the floor to the Minister of Justice to add to my remarks.